Okay, saying part of today's training is to go through with you the goods receiving procedure and the steps. And part of the competency is that after going through all the steps with you, you will be able to understand the steps and to generate a process flow out of those understanding. So without further ado, I will go through steps with you here. Now, as you can see from here, this is the generic goods receiving process flow of Lumon Australia, and the format of this is the flow chart number, as there are many flow charts, process flow charts within Lumon Australia itself. There are many systems and processes. So this is the flow chart number 2. And flow chart number 2 refers to goods receiving. And part of here is there is a date, and in bracket is original, which means it is the date where the original document is generated. Okay? Then the next part is the date where it is revised. So in the process of after the original date, as the requirements and the improvements that we make in the processes, so we may need to update the flow chart, the flow diagram, and once it's updated, then the date gets logged into here. So as you can see from here, the original date is dated 10th of February 2012, and the revised date on here is the 30th of September 2015 this year. And you can see that it is Rev 4, revision 4. So it has been revised 4 times.
Right.
And they should have a person who prepared this document and a person who approved this. So on this document itself, the person who approved this is Craig Mulaba. But I can't see the person who prepared this document. Alright. On this side itself, you can see this part name / description. So, and it is various harnesses. So this document can be, this flow diagram, this format can be for generic, and it can be for specific products. If it is for specific products, then the part number, alright, it is the part number, and the description should be reflected on here. Yeah. Because the part name and the description are the same thing. So it should be part number / description, or part number / name. So under what circumstances that we need to have a specific flow diagram? So based on the automotive industry, normally every single part should have one flow diagram like this. Yeah. So technically, but here in Lumon Australia, what we do is we grouped it under the generic product group. So we have a flow diagram for wiring harness group, flow diagram for metal brackets, a flow diagram for electronic modules. So different groups have got a generic, with their own generic flow diagrams. Okay. Now the first thing in goods receiving, the title of this should be goods receiving, not just inspection. The first process in terms of goods receiving is the checking of the delivery docket. So when the goods are being received, the person who receives it would check the delivery docket. So on the delivery docket itself, the person who receive will do barcode scanning, check that the PO is correct, the part number is correct according to what the parts to be received, match it to the data in our system, scan it to make sure that the barcode reads well and the part number matches what is in the system, and check the quantity as well. Check the quantity. And most importantly is to check the status of the part, whether the status is on hold for QC check, or whether it doesn't require QC check, the parts can go straight into the warehouse. So receiving personnel will check the status in the system. Then step number 2 is the goods receiving inspection. If the parts upon receiving that are on QA hold status, which means the parts need to go to QC to be checked. Okay?
Yeah.
So when the parts require QC to be checked, the parts will be put aside for QC to be checked, and QC will be alerted to check the parts. So you can print out from the system itself, you can print out a list of parts to be checked for that QC can perform the incoming QC inspection accordingly. So on this flow diagram itself, as you can see, there is no pass or fail, which we should indicate pass or fail. If the goods that fail, then the goods will need to go to quarantine. So, but in this case, it's a little bit confusing, because in this case, I think goods receiving inspection is by the personnel. It says if there is no status or the label on the product is not clear, the part number is wrong, or when they open the box and check what the information on the box itself is different from the parts that they are receiving, then they should contact the supplier as well. They should alert Lumen internally, and Lumen internal would contact the suppliers. So probably we need to have a look at this part. Then, yeah, as mentioned before, parts requiring QC inspection will be put aside, and then QC will be alerted. That is on step 3, and QC will know, and there will be a communication with QC. What, in terms of the priority, what needs to be checked first, and according to the demand of the product. Then go to step 4 is when QC performs the product quality inspection. So when QC performs the quality inspection, there will be 2 outcomes. One outcome is the product has passed the inspection, where QC will release the goods from QA hold in the system, so that the goods can be booked into store by receiving personnel, and stock control will be informed as well. Second outcome is when the QC did not pass the goods. So when QC did not pass the goods will go into a quarantine area, and QC will send out an email notification notifying various departments, and inform various departments, especially on customer service, that this product has failed incoming inspection, and that is where the quarantine comes in. So let's go to step number 5. Step number 5, as mentioned before, if the product has passed the QC inspection, it will go into the store. receiving personnel will book the stock in, and the pickers in the warehouse will know that the store has passed, because the goods that have passed QC inspection would have an identification that it has passed the QC inspection. There is a pass sticker with a date written on it, and the green pass sticker is on the stock itself. Then pickers will know, and pickers will pick the stock and put it away. If the stock did not pass QC inspection, the boxes will also be identified with the SQR number, and there will be a red label of SQR number on the box itself. Therefore, all the goods identified with the red label with the SQR number, that is the rejection number report number. So the stock will be put away and put in a quarantine area, waiting for disposition. The disposition is whether the stock will be sent back to the supplier, or the stock will be reworked at Lumen, in-house at Lumen, at the expense of the supplier. Then the next step is step number 6. So once step number 5, just now the stock has been booked into the store. Step number 6 is when there is a customer order. The order from a customer will automatically generate a pick list, picking order. In this sense, a picking order, and what we call a picking slip will be generated. The picking slip that is automatically generated from the system will go to the areas where the goods will be assembled, ready to be shipped out to the customer to fulfill the customer order. So step number 8 is, with the picking order, there will be notification to the warehouse, to the pickers, to pick the stock accordingly, and the stock that have been picked according to the picking order will be sent to the area where the stock will be assembled to fulfill the customer order. So upon assembling the various components and parts to make it into a full kit, the full kit and all the kits, every single kit will be weighed. The purpose of weighing is to ensure that there is no missing parts that have been assembled. If there are parts that are missing, then potentially there will be customer complaints. So this is a step of inspection step where the parts are being weighed, and upon weighing, if the weighing passed the specification, there will be a label being printed out from the printer, because the printer is linked to the weighing machine, and every single kit, the part number for the kit has got the weighing specification. If it is too light, which means there is something missing in there, so the machine will indicate there is a fail, and the printer will not print out the label to be put on the kit. If it is too heavy, which means there may be extra parts being put in the kit, then the machine won't print the label as well. So which means there may be extra parts being put in there, which may lead to potential customer complaint as well. So in either case, whether it is too light or too heavy, the machine will not print out the label to be put on the kit. So it is a safe-proof method to ensure that the kits are packed accordingly. And during packing itself, every single component has got a barcode label where the barcode will be scanned, and the system will double check and match it just to make sure that the correct parts are being picked. Then each kit that has been fully assembled will go through a final inspection by a separate party. It is a separate person who is not involved in assembling the kit. So this is to have a check and balance system. Alright, and then upon final inspection, the kits, just the final inspection is mainly just to ensure that the parts in the kits are correct, and it is matched to the visual guide, the packing specification, and the Pronto system, the bill of material in the Pronto system, that it is all matching. Then the next part will be on the product packaging. It is the operator have to ensure that the product are packaged in the right box, have the correct packaging, whether it is in a box or it is in a bag, and especially the label must be correct with the barcode. So the scanning must be done to ensure that it is readable. Sometimes the printing of the label is not very clear, especially when the barcode is very fine. Then if it is not readable, if it is not readable, then it may lead to potential customer complaint as well. So then once all these steps are completed, then the product will be sealed in the box or the bag depending on the packaging specification, and the customer order is fulfilled and ready to be dispatched. So the batch of the finished product will be sent to dispatch area together with the documentation, and the dispatch will complete the last step to inform Star Trek or DHL or FedEx or or the freight company like Mainfreight to dispatch the goods. So say any question at all in the explanation.
I think there are one or two reasons between. There's a section after delivery, then they will be receiving inspection, and then they will be booked in.
Yes.
Before book in, they will receive they check the part is correct.
Yeah.
Once they check the part is correct, then they book in. Once they book in, then only go to product waiting inspection. Then after that will be
Okay. Yeah. So we can actually combine. You can see it is a bit redundant, this part here.
yeah, actually should
They go straight down.
put into Pronto, and then
So goods receiving by right, it should be requiring QC, even like product status on hold on Pronto. So then it comes down to here. It comes down to here. Or it is if it is not on QA hold, then it can be booked into one room.
I think one improvement we can do is maybe instead of naming this receiving inspection, this looks like more of a generic flow for the entire flow for trailer wiring harness or generic harness, not really receiving inspection process. It's from receive to dispatch.
So I think this part needs to be more defined, because you have two scenarios. One scenario is everything is good so that you can book in this the stock. No, everything is good, then you have an option as well. When everything is good, like here, when everything is good, like here, then you need to check the status whether it needs to be checked by QC or whether it can book it in straight away. If it is no good, then we will have to alert to contact the supplier, alert internally to contact the supplier. Sometimes the stock that we booked in, or the supplier can send the wrong stock. We didn't even order the stock.
Yeah, that happens.
It happens.
Yeah.
So this flow can be modified a little bit.
Yeah.
So, and then the product quality inspection. So
Should the flow include the responsible person for each process? Or
yes.
Not necessarily.
Based on the new flow, the new TS 16949 flow, it is different from this flow. So there are it is mapped across different stakeholders and departments in the column, so it will flow like this, in that manner, and not straight, straight down manner. But for the purpose of this exercise, maybe you can do it straight down first.
Okay.
Then we'll schedule another session to do this. Okay. So assuming this is brand new, then I'll get you to write the number. Yeah. So you can change from goods receiving to. This is mainly for goods receiving. We can do the whole flow if you want. So do the whole flow if you want, but the scope of it is the goods receiving.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So I'll leave it up to you.
Okay.
Thank you.
So we have any generic number or same number?
02.
Today's date.
Yes.
Oh. When it's new, we don't put anything. Revision date and date.
Yeah, maybe. And I think for now they don't create picking slip anymore.
Not picking slip. Picking slip.
They don't have.
This is not picking slip. This is the ballot ticket. They are going to do away with ballot ticket. Still there'll be a ballot occasion for the
So one thing I would like you to help me is to the attendance form and the feedback form. I can see that you've done very well,
more important.
so
Fresh in my mind.
that's good, that's excellent. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
So that's the end of this session. So
Thank
we
you.
will have more sessions next year.
Thanks, I like it.